Hi, I'm Drew.
And I'm Sam.
And welcome to Drewling Samantics.
Well, Drew. It is nearly the end of the season.
And fortunately, Sam, season 13, despite its numerically superstitious nature, was not unlucky in the slightest.
I mean, we had illnesses, interruptions, and the usual amount of insanity. But no, you're absolutely right, mate. I think we were actually rather lucky to have such a lot of fun.
But the fun isn't over yet, mate. Today we get to pick the best bits of us.
Well, and what are we waiting for? Drinks at the ready, comfy positions assumed. Ladies and gents, here is Drewling Samantics Season 13's best bits of us. Cheers. Hello! Or if you are brand new to Drewling Samantics, we're Drewling Samantics. We're here. Hello. I've tailed off quite rapidly there. I came in with all the energy and
And then you explained things and it all went down the pan. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not an explainer. I shouldn't do that. If you are new to Drewling Samantics, you will learn that I was going to say you're the brains of this outfit, but then I couldn't think of something that I was. So, I can't give you that when I don't really know what the alternative is.
And now it's really insulting because I can't think if I'm the brains who you are. So I think with two, I can't be complimentary. Oh God, we kicked off the season really well.
Yeah, this is a great start. I've not been on a casting panel very much. When I've done it, I've enjoyed it. I've also found it really quite difficult because you empathise almost too much with the people the other side. And I guess you know what's going on, you know what's going through their minds, and people make odd decisions at times, and you go, wow, I'm not sure I would have gone that route, but brave or what have you. I mean, you must have loads of stories. I haven't got many because I haven't done it very much, but the one little thing that sticks out in my mind is how we've talked before about lying on CVs or sort of embellishing things you can do.
Pushing your luck a little bit, yes.
we had this guy, and it was an online audition, so thankfully he hadn't had to travel. Actually, it's reminded me of a second one now. I'm going to do my two and then let you get through a load, because you must have loads. But
I've got a couple,
so one was an online audition, and this guy, he sent through his portfolio and stuff and his headshots, and then dialed into this Zoom or whatever it was called, and this guy appeared. And the other person I was sort of auditioning with, I was like, who's that? Who's this? Hello? And he's like, hi, I'm blah, blah, blah. Well, your name matches. His headshot must have been 10 years old, right?
Oh, wow.
This guy, and he was auditioning for the part of I think, grew through the ages, but started at sort of like 12 and went through to like 25 or something. So had to be able to play that range of ages. He could do 25 just. He would have been better playing 45. He was going for, So, thankfully, or however you look at it, wasn't that great. So we didn't have to consider, and obviously wouldn't have done anyway because it just wasn't a right fit. But my God, like, maybe it should come back on us. Maybe we should have done a bit more digging. But if you've sent a headshot, you assume that's the point of a headshot is it looks like the person that they are. So
yeah.
But the only other one that jumps to mind is, and it was an in-person one, and unfortunate for the actor, but they obviously hadn't read things properly and got a bit confused because we went through the audition. They were very good, and we were chatting afterwards and saying, right, we just want to run through some logistics and just check things. So, blah, 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 are you happy with the fee? Are you available for the dates? Yes. And just checking, do you have local accommodation? Are you local? or have you got something in place? Because there is no budget in this for accommodation. We can help you source it, and we might even be able to do something because we've worked with people in the area. Da 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 da. And this person was, I think they'd misread, and I won't go into too many details just to spare Graces and stuff. But needless to say, Sussex and Surrey are not the same county.
Ah, right. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I did wonder why the auditions were right up in up this way. Oh, I must have misread that. Yeah, sorry.
Yes, you did.
There's a good couple of 100 miles if it depends how you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that person wasn't successful either, and had they been, I think they probably would have turned it down anyway because they weren't going to make a lot of money with that kind of travelling.
I'm very well. Good to see you, Sam. You're looking very well. You're looking like you've been busy, but not, not ridiculously busy. You actually look chilled, is what I'm thinking. You look very calm.
Intriguing. Don't know why that'd be. I've had a few bits on. I actually had a bit of disappointing news. I didn't get a job that I really wanted. So I don't know. I mean, we've talked about this before, haven't we? We did a whole episode on sort of like rejection and not securing jobs and how you deal with that sort of the negativity of the industry.
Yeah.
One of the negativities of the industry, anyway, which is quite a common one because let's face it, for every 100 or so jobs you go for, you might get one. So
It's the horrible fact of life, isn't it?
Well,
Really,
yeah.
it's an inevitability.
Yes, exactly. So it's been an odd week in that sense. I've still had work on, but I expected to have a little bit more, and it rocked me a little bit. But I've sort of my plan is, as is always, to sort of I don't know, sort of rise up from that and kind of have some sort of surge of right. No, I'm gonna prove people wrong or what have you. But anyway, I guess it's nice to sort of show that side rather than constantly talking about, oh yeah, I've done this job and I've done this job, to actually be able to go, I didn't do this job, I didn't get it, I wasn't successful.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess that's
It's funny because sometimes you do sort of think, not out of arrogance, but you think, oh, it'd be great if I got that. I think I might do, and then you start to plan around something that hasn't quite happened.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't, because we know the realities of the business, one shouldn't plan. But then you go, oh, that's a shame. And I think that's when you get disappointed. I mean, I've long, people said, just do the job, just do the audition, forget about it, go home, walk around the corner, have a cup of coffee and forget you've done it, or send the self-tape off and, do something else. But you can't help but being humans. You go, oh,
Easier said than done, 100%. Yeah, like we
And I
all,
mean,
we all advise it, but you simply can't because your brain is not geared that way. And as you say, the real difficulty comes when you go, oh, well, if I get that, then I'll be able to do that, and or I better not. It's I'll not take work on that, or I won't apply for work on that date because I've already got.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of going, well, I don't want the aggro of getting two things and then having to choose and having to let one down, and which is a viable thing to think about, but where do you draw, where does that confidence become?
Oh, you've just said the word. I was going to say, because there's the optimism, and we always have to be optimistic in this business, because if we didn't, we'd all be very, very depressed. And there's that fine balance between optimism and confidence, because if you didn't think, oh, if I get that job, then I'll have to think of blah, blah, blah. And if you didn't have that confidence of sort of almost planning ahead and thinking that you've got it, when you walked in the audition or did the self-tape or whatever, you wouldn't, you'd go, oh, I'm not going to get it anyway, so why, you wouldn't bother. So there's that fine line, which we've spoken about before, that fine line between confidence, arrogance and optimism. And you have to have all sort of three mixed in a good blend. And some jobs you get very overconfident, you go, oh, I've definitely got that. And you don't, you go, oh, shit. And others, you go, well, I caught that up, nowhere near that one. And suddenly you get the phone call and you think, what? No,
Yeah,
but then, like you say, you go for these things and all of a sudden you go, oh, I've got time on my hands now, those 2 days that I was going to do, or those weeks or whatever, you go, oh, bugger, And also, not to put too fine a point on it, sometimes you spend the money as well. You go, whap, nice job, you know.
Yes, yeah. Or you go, oh, thank God, if that comes in, I'll be all right. Like, yeah,
Yes.
I know this is
Yes.
coming
Yeah.
up and blah, blah, blah. And
Yeah.
it's a really difficult one because you can look at it in so many different ways. Like you say, people say, right, do the audition, leave it there. But if you then get that call saying you haven't got it and you don't care, was that job not right for you? Did you not really want it in the first place? But equally, like, if you get like that about every single one, you'd never stay in this industry because you'd be disappointed all the time. So it's such a difficult thing to manage.
It is. It is. The other aspect of knowing the material and knowing sort of, you know, your subject, or, you know, as you had, you've got a new piece and you go, well, I don't know. So all I can do is go in and show an interest and show some variety on where I think we might go with this. And then it's down to them. But there's the other thing is, if it is a well-known piece, I then look and go, okay, where am I going with this? And then go, maybe then it's to, and I always do it anyway, is to research who you are possibly working for. Like, if you know a director is a very straight down the middle, okay, it's going to be like this. They're a very, wrong word, but traditional way of looking at it. You know, we're going to play this piece, this play, musical, whatever, straight for what it is. We're going to bring some new angles to it. Or you look at director and you go, that director, they are very experimental. It's an experimental company. There's going to be not only that they're going to be putting elements of music into it, movement or whatever. So I can be a little bit more risky and a little bit more, left of field with the way I approach it, to show that I understand where the company's coming from and where the play might be going. And that comes down then to the other part of your preparation, or one's preparation, is actually, looking up the director if it's not someone that you know, or you don't, or you want to know more about their work. Obviously reading the play, the piece, if it's in existence. And then looking at the company, and then looking at, okay, if it's a tour, then I might have to approach this in a way where I'm okay with touring. I'm okay with if it's needful, get-ins and get-outs. But all that is involved as well, and it's in the back of your mind.
But no, we are at my flat, which will be familiar for long-standing Drewling Samantics viewers, listeners. Well, not for listeners, because they can't, but they'll know we've been here.
Well, they'll know where we are, because we would say, well, here we are at the flat.
Yeah.
And we've just said, here we are at the flat, so listeners will know that here we are at the flat.
Here we are at the flat, my flat. Yes. We're together. We're within touching distance. We don't like to touch each other because, well, look, he's old and...
I might break.
Yeah, it's not where I was going. We'll stick with that. But anyway, here we are at my flat. So for those of you that have been here before, welcome back. For those of you that are fairly new to Drewling Samantics, maybe only joined us this season, welcome to my flat. Sometimes Drew and I come here to record episodes and to do some work.
Yeah.
We also come here to drink.
Have a beer.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Which is a rarity, because obviously at the moment I tend to be on sort of protein shakes or weird replacement meal things, and you just drink tea or coffee.
I just drink tea or coffee because
caffeine
I'm an old
addict.
fart.
Yeah, well,
Yes, well.
But cheers, everyone. Yes, we are here at my flat, where, to put it simply, it's fucking roasting.
It's really hot in here.
It's so warm.
I mean, we do have curtains closed and lights on and recording lights and everything, and we're wearing, reasonably thick t-shirts, and and it's sunny outside, but it's bloody hot in here.
It's so warm. I mean, we won't dwell on it. We've done episodes before. Feel free to go back and listen if you haven't already, or watch it if you haven't already. Episodes about the weather and how it affects our performance.
Yeah.
But we promise we'll try not to let it affect our performance.
We may just drink a little bit more than usual. That's probably the only
Not bad.
the only advantage.
But random question before we actually get into something that's of any worth to anyone.
Yes.
Would you rather be too old or too old?
Too old.
Or too hot?
Yes. Were you talking working now or in general?
I'm not even making words at this point.
I do like to be held, but that's my private life, and I'm going to keep that separate.
We're really professional, honestly. Like we know what we're doing.
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't know this, but we've rehearsed. Not this. Other things.
we do rehearsals, by the way. We've not rehearsed this.
We do. We talk about this occasionally.
Can I ask, mate? You obviously always get back to people. Callan and I, when we've done casting, have always got back to people. Do you think it's because we're performers? Do you think that makes a massive difference because we are both sides of that quite regularly? Or, I mean, I'm not casting quite regularly, but when I have done it, do you think there is that element of, I've been in your shoes, I know what I would want, sort of the treat people as you'd like to be treated kind of thing?
I think personally, yes. I mean, right the way down the line, I feel that, you know, that we're both Ron and I being performers, we are very conscious of being treated well, you know, making the whole audition process, you know, as, you know, do as you would want to be done unto you, sort of thing. And I mean, there is a you know, a culture now of getting back to people and directors and casting directors, whoever, giving feedback. I mean, I think that's become more common than it used to be. But I do think being a performer, because the last lot of auditions we did for Christmas and for the half-term show, a lot of people said thank you so much for making it such a lovely room and making it. I'm thinking, it's not difficult. It's just to be nice people. You know, I mean, yeah, we do say, you know, I mean, we did have a couple of people late. We're going, we will see you, but you're going to have to wait now until, you know, whenever, until we have a gap or lunchtime or whatever. But, you know, if you can wait, we'll definitely see you. But you were late. So, you know, I mean, I've gone for auditions. I mean, you know, and I've been late myself once and had said, no, you're late. Sorry, bye. If you can't turn up on time, and I'm gone, yeah, fair enough. You know, one time it was my fault, another time train derailments and goodness knows what else. I'm on my phone going, please, you know, and they're going, thank you very much. Yeah, get here, mate. We'll see you. Yeah. But, you know, as they say, shit happens. But sometimes, you know, you try and be helpful. I mean, we had people turn up and late and having a right. I'll go, well, yeah, but I'm only 5 minutes. Just, but the other person is in there now. You know, we heard nothing from you. But, you know, and now it's, well, don't argue. If you're going to stand there and argue, but, you know, I don't want to work with you anyway. When I was at drama school, I had an aptitude, a skill for mime. And I met a couple of people there. They were teachers of mime, directors. They ran, and mime ran around about the time I was at drama school and leaving drama school. It's very big. I mean, lots of big theatre companies, moving picture, mime show, people show, trestle theatre, big companies performing at the time. And it was a very popular medium. It still is, but then it was very, lots of people were going off to Jacques Lecoq in Paris. And one of the guys said to me, you should audition. You would, you know, you would get, and I'd just done 3 years of, you know, training at drama school. I kind of wanted to work. And I think, and even my late father said to me, you're good at this, maybe you should, you know. And I didn't understand that world, but and then I went on, you know, and I watched circus and clowning, and I love clowns in circuses. I mean, the skill of that is immense, and I'm quite good even now, you know. Now I can still do the pratfalls, I can still leap around a bit and not hurt myself. So yeah, I think I would have liked to have done the mime / clowning thing, and I think I watch it now, you know, and I see people that are good at it, and I think, yeah, that's something I would have liked to have got really good at that. Where it would have taken me, I don't know. But yeah, that's something that. Okay.
Do you know, it sort of made me think a bit what I wish I'd done or been able to do. I wish I'd pursued stunt work a bit more.
Interesting.
So as you know, I still do stunt work. I work with independent stunt teams, but I'd have liked to be part of the British Stunt Register and done it properly. My issue was, I don't have a specialty martial art, and I think that's something that that's on reflection. If I'd done that as a child, maybe it would have come through now. But that it's very difficult not to progress if you haven't started that early doors. And equally, the financing behind it to be able to train, and because my specialties would be driving as one, and yeah, it's just so expensive to get to that point. So I was never in a position to do that. So that's maybe something I wish I could have followed on a bit more and ended up a bit higher end in it. But like it's not something that I go, oh, I wish I had, and I passed up an opportunity. That's one where I kind of go, it would have been nice to have the opportunity, but I literally didn't. It's not something that I kind of missed out on for reasons of my own fault or choices or what have you. So
I mean, if had I gone to Lecoq in France, I mean, that would have been 2-3 years training. Also, it would have cost a shed load of money, and my parents were already supporting me through drama school, with grants and things, but they were supporting me a lot. But the other thing as well, I would have had to learn French, which is no bad thing, but because the whole course is in French, they don't work in English or German or whatever country you come from, they work in French. So that would have been interesting. And I think
a side skill you would have gained.
Yeah, I mean, I probably would, if had my thinking been there, I think I would have gone, right, I'll take a year, I'll learn French, I'll save some money and go. And that kind of was in the background of my mind, but then I luckily, the God smiled, I got some work, I got some more work, I got some more work, and it kind of never happened. But I still, I mean, I did some training and some classes and kept it going, but yeah, I was thinking, I wonder what, if, and I thought, yeah, maybe that's something that you look back a little bit, not with regret, but with interest as such, like, that would have been interesting to do.
It's a rarity, but they do exist, and I personally am really not a fan. Auditions where you audition in front of the other auditionees. So group auditions, or you're in a room, like, for example, I did a panto audition years ago, where all of us were sat in the theatre. And you got up one by one and did your song or did your whatever. And so in that scenario, if you're doing something unique, not such an issue. However, if you are all performing the same song, performing the same lines or the same scene or doing something, is there... First question, would you prefer to be first, last, or somewhere in the middle? There's the first question.
Okay. I don't care where I come in that order. I don't mind. So I don't mind where I go with that. Yeah.
No preference whatsoever.
No preference.
Equally, no preference against. So you wouldn't say I don't mind where, as long as it's not first. No, it doesn't matter to you.
No, I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah.
Okay. Second question along the same lines. Let's say you're going somewhere in the middle or towards the end. Up until that point, you have a performance in your mind, or you pretty much know what you're going to do on that stage.
Yeah.
Depending on what you've seen of others, how likely are you to change, adjust, make alterations, whatever you want to call it, to what you do?
If I would normally say to myself the two things in do it, and I don't mind doing stuff in front of people, but I always go, stick to the game plan, and if I am in front of other people, don't show off. Don't, do what you want the directors, the producers, the people auditioning you, casting director, whoever, stick to the game plan. However, if I see something where I've gone, I've misread that line, then I will take that on board. I won't do it as they've done it. I'll take... So if I say... It's like someone, you do something, and if I'm in the middle and consistently people have gone bum, 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 and you think, oh, yeah, that is the way to do it. If, however, I go, nah, you've got that wrong. You've got that wrong. This is the way to deliver that line, I think, then I will stick to my game plan. So my two things for me in those sort of workshop style auditions are stick to the game plan and don't show off. Don't play to them. Because I know, if certainly if you're doing something funny, if you're doing comedy and you start making everybody laugh, then don't play up to that, because then yes, take the laughter on board and use it as you would if they were an audience laughing, but don't go, oh, fellow pros, I'm making fellow pros laugh, I must be good, because then I'll fuck up personally. Pardon my French, but that will screw. I know. Then if I do that, I'll go off my game plan, and that's when I might weaken my cause, as it were. I've got one thing to do. I've just realised I put my tea in the wrong mug. Gotta get me Drewling Samantics mug.
Yeah.
I'll be 30.
What Drew doesn't realise, he's gone out of the room right now, is he thinks he's going to come back in and then we'll start again. But actually, no. He can suffer the consequences of choosing the wrong mug. And this can be today's intro. He'll have thought, oh, we're going to do like a nice, hello, mate, how are you? No, I'm going to embarrass him. And he can be reprimanded for his mistake. So as soon as he comes back in, we're going to spring that on him. So, are you there, mate? You all right?
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. What you don't realise is I've just had a chat with everyone listening. We're not doing an intro now. That was the intro. You've been reprimanded for not having the correct mug, and you now have the opportunity to apologise to all the Drewling Samantics fans. Away you go.
I'm deeply sorry, everyone. Obviously, I look. There it is. I am all, merchandised up. I'm sorry.
Anyway, how are you, mate? All right.
Stitched up there. Yes, I'm very well. I'm going to have a slurp now.
Yeah, please do. Cheers.
There we go.
I did a costume drama, a costume drama, rom-com. And the girls, we were filming in a castle.
Yeah.
And the two girls within this particular scene were wearing sort of Jane Austen-esque Empire line dresses. So again, lots of shoulder, lots of décolletage.
Period wear, essentially.
Period wear, yeah. And they were, bless their hearts, very cold. And the guy on sound said, I have a little surprise for you guys. And normally...
Which is always worrying.
Which is always worrying when the sound man has a little surprise for you. But he had heated pouches for your mic packs. Now these are tucked away. Sometimes if you're a guy in a suit or a costume, you have it in a pocket. The girls are wearing them on belts beneath the costume with the pack behind them, so it didn't.
Which is what you would normally do in theatre. You would normally have a mic belt right underneath your costume, particularly in a lot of theatre where you're doing costume changes. They're sort of the very base layer.
Yeah.
Because then it's all hidden away, but it keeps it in there and it keeps it safe
and secure.
Yeah.
So he gave his hand is and they put these things with a pouch at the back so it didn't destroy the line of the dress. And we were sitting quietly and we're working with an actress who she was very quiet, very sweet, very demure, incredibly professional. And we were within this castle. We weren't allowed to have any heat. We had restricted light because everything in the room was historic. It was,
you don't want to damage anything.
All the fabric and everything could be damaged. So they kept it particularly cooler to protect the fabrics in this beautiful room. So we were all cold. Now, as Sam said, as men, I had thermal layers on underneath, and shove my hands in my pockets to keep your hands warm. You have a little break from the shop, put your hands around a warm cup of coffee or something. But the girls were bare arms, bare shoulders. They were cold. So the sound man said, I have these heated pouches for you girls. So they had these little pouches, one on the back, and it was lovely. And they sort of stood there with their hands on these pouches. And this very demure, very quiet, professional actress went, I'm going to put this on my pussy. She was American, so I did the terrible accent. And there were about 20 people in this room in the shot, and we all went, what? And she said, yeah, I'm going to wear this next to my pussy. And she turned round and unzipped the frock to reveal a T-shirt with a cat on the front. And she nestled this beneath her dress next to this picture of a very charming little pussy. And that was her pussy. And she had reduced everyone by then to tears of laughter, which warmed us all up. But for the rest of the day, we would turn around and go, is your pussy warm? My pussy's very warm. And you can get away with it. Legitimately get away with it.
Welcome to Drewling Samantics, where we're totally PC. Or pussy.
Right, enough. No, none of that. Let's get away with that.
Let's talk about something that people actually want to hear.
Yes.
Is there anything people actually want to hear?
got to be honest, I did wonder where that one was going, Drew.
As did I when she said it, mate. I think that will undoubtedly be a memory that will live with me forever.
However, something that isn't lasting forever, especially in this heat, is my beer. So afraid I'm going to have to refill, mate.
Well, it seems an appropriate time to do it, Sam. Go on, grab a fresh one.
Nothing like a nice cold beer, is there? Perks me right up.
Yep, and you are looking refreshed and happy. More so than you did in this next clip, anyway. Morning, mate. How you doing? Look at that. There's a glimmer of it. You're not looking great, I have to say. I mean, as much as I look forward to seeing you, that's not a face that I was expecting.
Thanks, mate.
I have to say though, you've not been well, have you, mate?
Oh, I feel like shit, mate. Absolute shit. But in the spirit of all things theatre, the show must go on.
What kind of show is it going to be? I mean, anybody, joining us on YouTube, I'd probably switch off now and, go audio.
Go. You don't mean just like fucking sack it off?
No. Oh, no, certainly not. No. I mean, I'm sure. Look at that. Go on. Oh, go on, you can do it. There.
Yeah.
There we are.
It's been a week, mate. Definitely.
Has it, mate? Have you? Is this born out of? I mean, I know it's always born out of hard work, but I mean, if you or have you just had the lurgy, haven't you?
Yeah, there's shit going around, isn't there? There's always something going around. Yeah. I've spent quite a lot of time in London recently, so I've been on the tube. So some inconsiderate git has passed it on to me clearly.
Sneezed on you or something. Yeah,
lovely.
Oh, mate, I'm very sorry to hear that. I am, on the other hand, are disgustingly healthy. I'm very sorry. But I will not force this upon you. I will just sit here calmly and say...
I'm all right. I'm fine. I was a lot worse a couple of days ago. Didn't really get out of bed for a day or two. I've done a lot of watching TV, mate. I can tell you that. Certainly, I've sat in bed feeling sorry for myself, bog roll up my nostrils and popping every pill known to man to try and make myself feel a little bit more human. But nature of the beast, isn't it? Like we all go through it, particularly like we've talked about it before, like pantolurgy and stuff, where you end up working so hard and non-stop and surrounded by a group of people, and particularly when you're working with kids, because kids have always got something, haven't they? That's why people work in schools get ill quite a lot and what have you.
Well, you know what they say on the adverts, always keep away from children. I mean, that's, whether using...
I'm not sure there are adverts telling you to keep away from children.
There are at the end of detergent adverts and things. They always say always keep away from children. I think they mean I think they mean the product, but I'm taking them at their word. I really am. When it comes to little germ balls that children are.
The problem with you, mate, is a lot of the adverts say please keep out of reach of children, and you are the size of a child, so you can't be out of reach.
Mate, I've just got the ump. Then they're taking a piss out of little people. Well, anyway, when I say little people, I mean short people. Anyway, the next one I went for, I really enjoyed the workshop, but I have one thing that I'm not great with. I'm not great with playing theatre games.
Oh God, no.
And I'm slowly curing myself of that, but I don't always pick up the instructions of theatre games quickly. Now, if we do them in rehearsals, if like a warm up in the morning and you play theatre games and that, I enjoy that. But I don't, because if I fail at the game, I've had to teach myself to take my competitive out. You don't have to get it right. If you're playing zip, zap, bop and all that one, if I get zapped on each one, I end up on my knees each time, or I end up out. I just have to take that,
Yeah.
So now I've turned that on its head, and now I make my failure part of my audition. If I fail at the game or I don't get it right, I then turn that on its head and go, am I the only one in the room that can't play this. I said, am I? I said, and then I'll do it. I said, I should be auditioning for a one-man show. I'll be brilliant, I'll stand over here, in cock-up corner. I'll turn that on its head.
Yeah.
I will then be the one. The person who's getting it right, being brilliant, they're being brilliant at the game. I'm standing out by going, I can't bloody do, how do you do it? Right. And I go, right, for me, explain it again, slowly. Right, I got it. Okay, let's see if I don't cock it up. I'll turn it on its head. And that's how I've now diffused that. And I've taken it doesn't matter if you fail. Theatre games aren't about, getting it right. It's getting how you behave about getting it wrong is more important than getting it right. Because anyone can win a game of tag. It's the person standing on the sidelines. Do they then? And I get involved in the game. I then go, he's out. You are out, aren't you? Yeah, great. Or, oh, no, you're not out. Get it. I got it wrong. See, I still can't play the bloody game even when I'm out. And I'm on it. I'm more involved when I'm out than when I'm in. But yeah, I've always hated theatre games. Always hated them. Another question is, do you have a hobby or do you have something that if you weren't acting, you could happily do to earn a living?
God, what a question that is.
That is, somebody asked me that the other day and said, if you, for whatever reason, if it was, if you could have been something else, do you have yes, I did. And I think I've said it in the past. I'm very practical. I love building and making things, and that's come about, through doing the production side and making a bit of scenery and stuff. I could do that. I could work. I could work backstage. I couldn't work on the stage backstage. I couldn't be a stagehand or because that's a little bit too close.
You're
for
talking
comfort.
about like the carpet set creation.
Yeah, I could happily be in a workshop, make something, and then go and look at it on stage and go, yeah, that'll do the job. That works. I like that. I can't think of anything else. Nothing else.
But funnily enough, that's still very much linked with what we do. You haven't.
It is. It is. Yeah. Yeah.
So, equally, as you know, I trained as an audio engineer, so I worked in post production, which has become very useful because some idiot decided we should do a podcast. And equally, obviously, I do voiceover work, so I'm able to be my own producer for that. So yes, I have other skills that absolutely are slightly linked to this that I could do as a vocation. And I have done at times, long before sort of doing this full-time, if you can call being self-employed freelancer full-time. So there is that, but I don't know, there's things that I'm very technically minded, as you know, and I used to repair computers and do sort of upgrades on computers. I mean, the sad fact of the matter is you can't really do that anymore because they're all now designed so only the manufacturers can do stuff to them. But certainly going back a few years, I could do stuff like that.
We had one guy turn up, and I will never forget it because I'm sitting there, and it was I swear, what was it? It wasn't a warm day, but it was it was one of those sort of. It wasn't I think it was autumn time or anyway, it was a bit cold and damp, and we were in a big church hall in Phil Beach Gardens in Earl's Court, near where the old Earl's Court Exhibition Centre used to be. Big church, and the church so high that all the windows at the top were all smashed, and it was so high up that they were repaired. So we used it as a rehearsal room. It was always bloody cold in there, summer or whatever. It was cold. Yeah. So I was the audition panel is sitting there, and I'm taking in cups of tea and coffee to keep them warm. And one of the directors, she was sitting there, sort of faux fur coat, and it was like, oh, she looked like Dame bloody Maggie Smith and all the rest of it. And they're all sitting there with mufflers on. And because all these kids are coming in, all around about 19, 20, all want to go to drama school, and they're all in their lycra and stuff, and they're thinking, stick a sweatshirt and a pair of jeans on, it's bloody cold in there. And I kept saying, it's really cold in there, guys, keep warm. They're all hugging the radiators, and and they're all shivering outside, and I was like, I'm so sorry. But this guy turned up, and he was extraordinary. He was about 6 foot, and he looked, he dressed as like Sherlock Holmes. He had this sort of big cape on and this deerstalker, had a cane and everything. And he went, "My name is," and his name was Christopher something. I remember it was Christopher. He said, "My name is Christopher, blah, blah." He said, "I'm here to audition for Webber Douglas Academy of Dramatic Art." And I went, "Well, you're in the right place then, mate, you know." And I said, "Sit down. What time are you?" Ticked his name off. "Do you need anything? There's water over there. It is a bit nippy, so there's tea and coffee if you want it, blah. There's somewhere to change." Look. And he sat there, and he just sat there with his hand on his cane. It was terribly. And I thought, well, they're either going to love you or hate you. And I said, do you need a prompt because there's a student in there, they will sit on the script and prompt you if you need be. And he went, "No, I'm absolutely fine, thank you." And he was, I mean, he could only be about 20. He went in and he started his piece. And what I didn't know when he was sitting outside with his cape on, he threw this cape back, and I heard this, oh, and I thought, what's going on? So I peeked through and there was a little sort of letterbox you could peek through, because then the panel would go like that. They're ready for the next one. You'd show them in. So I was peeking through, and the whole panel like this, because this guy was naked from the waist up, cape over the top with his scarf on. I didn't see any of this because his huge, fucking great deerstalker cape. So that had come off. He was waving his stick around. And as he was going, he was starting to strip. And to get this, it was just extraordinary. I can't remember what piece he was doing. I remember looking across to the other guy on the audition panel, and he was just like, oh shit. The thing was, to be fair on them, they didn't stop him. They sort of let him carry on.
Why?
And then I don't know. I mean, he wasn't doing anything wrong, but he was just taking his kit off, which seemed to be, that was for a Shakespeare piece. I can't remember what bloody hell it was. But, yeah, so he finished, and they went, "Okay." He went, "And now for my comedy." And they went, "No, you're all right. You're okay. You don't have to do your comedy piece. We think you're funny enough," was I remember somewhere on the panel going. So and there was this frantic waving, and people who threw the letterbox, and I thought, shall I make them wait a bit longer just to get a little bit of student revenge for all these 2 years you've pushed me, pulled me? So I gave them a little 30 seconds longer than he needed to be in the room. Then I opened the door and I went, "Would you like to follow me? Thank you ever so much. I hope that went well." Shut the door. And as the door shut, one of the directors went, Hilary, she went, "Andrew," he went, "Yes." And she went, "I think we might need a little break." and they stood, then he had all the husbands, he just stood outside in front of, I don't know, about another 4 or 5 people waiting to audition, and just put his clothes back on and made himself very comfortable, and said, "Well, thank you very much. I enjoyed that. Went rather well. Good day." And off he went. Never saw him again. Don't know whatever happened to him.
I was on set working as basically a featured extra. Extras or supporting artists or what have you, featuring basically means you've either got, what do they call it, creative reaction, lines, or basically a cutaway, so where you're beyond just crowd, not as an insulting term, but you are a character, so to speak. Yeah. You are a role rather than...
You have an identifiable moment.
Yes. And the way the sort of the crowd or the general extras, the supporting artists were treated was not good. Ooh. The stars, the main actors, were treated like royalty. And there was a particular moment where one of the ADs or one of the directors spoke to one of the female supporting artists in such a derogatory way that actually myself, I was the hero, not at all. Myself and a few others went, no, hang on. You don't do that. You don't speak to someone like that. She ran off in tears. We were like, look, you need to go and apologise to her for not doing that. Right, fine. And a lot of us left.
Have you ever, and we all got our credits on our CV and things that we can do and our skills, have you ever lied and said, "I can do this," and then had to kind of have 48 hours to try and get it right? I mean, and gone on and gone, nah, or gone there and completely,
So
screwed it?
I, hmm, I wouldn't say I've ever lied, like point blank gone, I can do something that I absolutely cannot do. We all, and I stand by this, we all blur the edges of reality and truth and what
Right?
have
Yeah.
you. Like you might tell someone you're 5'8", um, when actually you're 5'4" or whatever it is. Um,
Thanks, Sam. Thank you. Thank you. Mind you, you can turn up and say that. If I said I was 5'8", 5'9", walked in the room and go, that guy's 5'6", and a half. But yeah. But no, I wonder because I mean I know people. You hear celebrity stories and I once said I could ride a horse and I turned up and I'm terrified of horses and I got on it and blah. But 2 weeks later I was offered the job and it's like
Well, there are a couple of good stories around that. So, and I'm going to keep these super anonymous. And this one I'm not even going to go into full depths with, but certainly you and I have a mutual colleague, and you will know who I'm talking about when I start telling the story, who did panto with a well-known pop star, who all through rehearsals it would get to said person's song and they'd be like, right, I'm just going to mark it, or I don't, my throat's not great today. And you know the story, don't you? You know what
I do know the story. Yes.
And it went on and on and on. And they basically got to like a couple of days before opening and the director was like, right, you are actually going to have to sing it. Like we actually haven't, in all these rehearsals, we haven't had a chance to sing a song. And said pop star broke down and couldn't really sing live. Had like been auto-tuned all their life, and so yeah, that's not necessarily lying on a CV, but that is hiding behind something, I guess.
Yeah.
And
I once said I could. I once said I could drive, and I couldn't.
Oh yes, you've told. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I turned up and to I think I've told this story before, but I turned up and had to drive a Rolls Royce, and I couldn't even reach the bloody pedals. And I'm sat in this dirty, great, big white Rolls Royce. Thankfully, on a beach, there was nothing to bump into.
Yeah.
But I got into the car, and it was wonderful because the cameraman looked at me and went, "You can't drive, can you, mate?" I went, "No." And he just went, put your foot there, turn that. And he said, and do that. And the cameraman basically gave me a 5 minute. And he said, I'm just lining the shot up with Andrew here. And he said, you might get away with it. And I started the car and I stalled it and blah. And I got it to move with no one's more surprised than me. And in the end, they went, don't worry. You don't have to drive it. You just have to look like you can drive. And we're going to put a stuntman in because it's X tens of thousands of pounds worth of roller. I didn't have to do it. But by which time I looked like I could drive. Yeah. That's all I had to look like. I had to be a chauffeur. I had to look like I could drive. By which time, I can blag that. And thanks to the cameraman, I did. And at the end of the day, we went back to the hotel. We had some filming to do the next day. And I went up to the bar and went, you don't buy a drink tonight. I buy you a drink. You don't buy And he said, well, you can't drink, mate. You're driving tomorrow. And it was I said, no. But yeah, he black. That's not a huge skill, but it could have been worse if I'd have been driving on a road or something and didn't have a kind cameraman.
Imagine you're at an audition and it's a group and they're only seeing, they're not seeing you all act at once, and there are partner scenes, or there are scenes where there are a couple of you in it. Now you've been paired up, and what they've said is, and I know this is very specific, I'm thinking back to an audition and just wondering if it happens very often, but imagine there's a scene, you have been partnered with someone going for the same role as you, and what they're asking you to do is to read in for each other.
Yeah.
And they say, right, you're with here's the groups, here's the partners, whatever. You've got 10, 15 minutes to run through the lines together, come up with stuff, and then come and show us, perform the scene. You are now working with someone who is the enemy. And I'm obviously over-egging the pudding here, but essentially you are having to work together with someone who, at the end of the day, you want to defeat, you want to beat, you want to get past them. Do you hold back in that practice?
When you say hold back, if I think they could be better, or if I think there's something, I will say it.
I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about you. So in this practice bit, you are practicing what you are then going to perform for the
Yeah.
judging panel.
Yeah.
You're practicing that in front of someone who's also got to impress that judging panel. So do you go 100% in front of that person that could then go, that's a good idea, I'm going to do that as well? Or do you go, and there's nothing what we've discussed, there's a right or wrong answer. I'm just intrigued by how people's brains work. Because let's say the two of you are together and you've got a different way, or you've interpreted a joke a certain way, the other person's interpreted a joke a different way, the delivery, the blah, blah, blah. And then when you're rehearsing it, you give it 100% in that rehearsal, and they go, oh my God, I wasn't going to do that, but that's brilliant. And then when you go and perform that scene, you've not given them an upper hand, but you've helped them. Where does the wrong, the moral compass lie on something like that?
I wouldn't, if I was rehearsing someone in that situation, I wouldn't hold back, because I would hope that if I did something, because there's nothing worse, and we've all been there, and everybody in the business that's listening to this now will all have been there at one time or another and going, I'd have got that if it weren't for the shit person I had to act with. We've all done those things. And so I wouldn't hold back, because what I would do is basically hope that if they were not as strong as I would want them to be, or I think, and that's only my opinion, because they may be exactly what the casting director wants. I can only do my job, and hopefully doing what I do will draw them out. If it gives that person a hint into playing the role better than they were, I can't help that.
No.
Hopefully, by that stage, the whoever's casting will go, oh yeah, he's Andrew's given Joe Bloggs the way in there, But also, I wouldn't hold back if we were rehearsing something and going, I would have done a few years ago, not now, because I don't care if you dislike me in an audition. If who I'm working with, I don't care if you don't like me. Let's just get the job done, and that's not me. That's because I'm not winning friends here. I'm winning a job.
Exactly.
So I'd be perfectly in the nicest possible way. I would say to someone, actually, if you deliver that ba ba ba, and I go ba ba ba, and you go ba ba ba, we'll get the laugh. We will get the laugh, not you or me. We. So I would. Alternatively, if someone said to me, actually, mate, if you do that, and I'll go, gotcha, right, fine. I'll play it as well. And I've been in the situation where I've stood there and gone, this person is head and shoulders more right for the role than me.
Everyone's head and shoulders above you, mate. But
well, yeah. But they are, so I would still, and what I wouldn't do either is I wouldn't hide anything. I wouldn't sort of, when we get in the audition, then suddenly give 50% in the rehearsal and going and they're standing there going, where the fuck did this come from? Because then I think people can know. And I've been on an audition panel and I've watched people do that, and I've gone, you didn't do that in rehearsal, because that person is looking, that person is so behind you that so you are a fucker. It was for a friend's show, and I'd been cast in the show, and he said, would you come in? It was actually panto. And I was playing Abanazar, and he said, would you come in? Lovely David Lee, Pantone Productions. He said, would you come in and sit on the panel and read him for the various? I said, yeah, I'd love to. Fabulous. And he said, obviously, one is going to be Slave of the Ring, so he's going to be working opposite you, and it'll be good if you So okay, lovely day. Saw some fantastic people. And at the end of the day, this girl came in, and she was stunning, and she was very, very tall. She was a fabulous dancer, and she had a broad Liverpudlian accent. And she, at the end of the day, we said fabulous, and Dave was going, oh, we got to have her. She's great. She's got a great character and everything. And then we were just sort of literally tidying tables away, and then suddenly there's a knock on the door. He said, Dave locked the toilets. I can't get in the toilets. Well, why is that? He said, I've left my knickers in the toilet. And when she got changed into her gear, she'd obviously slipped into a leotard, taken her knickers off, left her knickers in the toilets, and they'd shut the toilets up, and she's standing, I need to get my knickers. I've lost my knickers. my knickers are in the toilet. You know, like, brilliant. It was like, okay, you know. Obviously David just went, you can deal with this one, Andrew. Thanks a bunch. We like toddled off down and said, is the caretaker around? Could you open the toilets up? This young lady's left her underwear in there, you know. I've left my knickers in the toilet. It was fabulous. Yeah.
We are in an industry though where everybody is taking, you know, we're all ready to stretch a point because we all want to work. Work is so difficult, and if you refuse to do something, you think I can't refuse. Because
there's always someone who will say yes.
There's always someone who will say yes, or you're in fear of like, I'll never work again, or that director will never hire me again. You know, our desperation for work, to work and to be creative and to do what makes us ourselves, and B, earn a living. Sometimes we go, yeah, all right, don't worry about that, I'll do that. The regulations for that now are stopping there, but also, as you say, you know, people are going, you can't do that now. And the other thing is, a lot of actors that have power have started protecting actors that don't. Because if I'm on a film set with one of my currently favourite actors, Tom Hardy, and I know that Tom Hardy would go, Drew's not doing that. He is an actor that has people's backs, and I admire him for that. No, but also big actors are now, whoever they may, and I picked on Tom Hardy because I know he's that kind of actor. But I know there are big actors now that are around that will go, if we're on this film set, that isn't going to happen. Or you can look at someone, if you're in a scene, and you go, and they'll go, no, you ain't doing that.
Yeah.
You know, not while I'm on this set. That never used to happen, but now I think because and also because you say there is so much legislation that if I was on the set with an A-lister and suddenly something went wrong, their reputation would be tarnished, their pay packet would be affected, their future work would be affected. They are protecting themselves, now from top down, I think actors, whoever they are, actors, people, creatives, are protecting themselves.
Yeah, I think
it's extraordinary.
The industry is changing for the good, but we're having to fight for that, and it's still a struggle, and it's still not straightforward.
I think it's something people don't know about either, because they see the finished product.
But and this is why we do what we do, because we want to throw light on or expose or give sort of airtime to these extremes. But the weird thing is that what we talk about in big media terms isn't saleable, isn't interesting, isn't exciting, or has less value, because we are not talking about the elite, those people who are the highest paid, most extreme, like most famous, and earning the big pay packets, going on the big posters, the big movies that sell billions and do all these things. And don't get me wrong, they've earned the right to be there. The cream of the crop, the best actors have worked incredibly hard, no less hard than us, but equally as hard. We all work really hard, and they've been lucky. You make your own luck. We know that in this industry particularly. But some of it has to be luck, to be noticed, to be in the right scenario.
Well, I mean, what we try and bring to light, and what we've always done, is deal with the nitty-gritty, because that's what we have to deal with a lot of the time, and we're not complaining about that. But that's also what people who are listening and watching this, are. We have to earn a living. We're not complaining about this. We love this business, but sometimes it's tough.
Yeah.
And sometimes you deal with things that people don't know about.
Truly wise words there, mate. I think you've done a rather good job of explaining one of the most important reasons for why we do this podcast.
Well, thank you. Maybe not one of our funnier clips, but one that has a lot of meaning. I mean, we absolutely do love what we do, but it isn't always easy or as enjoyable as some people may assume. And so, by being able to open up on our industry, throw some light on the good, the bad and the ugly, hopefully our lovely listeners and watchers will get even more of an impression of the realities of our work.
Oh, mate, it's really poignant and poetic. Very well done. And very well done on another fantastic season, if I may say so.
Oh, yes. I think a well-deserved pat on the back is in order, Sam.
It is, but don't dwell on that too long, buddy, because we have got season 14 to plan for. Our fans and followers will hopefully be as eager as we will be to get back to the world of Drewling Samantics once the short break is over.
Yep, I think you're probably not wrong there. So, let us raise a glass one last time this season.
Yeah, cheers to you, mate. Cheers to everyone else. An enormous thank you for joining us over these past 15 weeks. We will see you in August for lots more podcasting fun.
Cheers.
Thanks again for watching this special highlights episode of Drewling Samantics.
Remember, you can watch all our previous episodes in full. And make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video.
Don't forget we're also available as audio only. Just search Drewling Samantics in any good podcast app. And please support us on social media. All our links and handles are on screen now.
We love welcoming new followers and subscribers, so why not share with your family and friends so they can join in too. Thanks very much. See you next time.